Okay, Survivor Series 2017 is in the books. Well, it was in the books last night and I just watched it this morning, but you get the idea. Anyway, just before we get things started, it's in the middle of Sunday afternoon, they announced 2 additional matches for the kickoff show, and they were last-minute matches, so they didn't have pictures for them up on the website, which means I had to make do with what I could find. So, anyway, our first kickoff show match is Matt Hardy versus Elias. Elias comes out and starts running down Houston in a song. It's taking place in Houston. The arena was, if you remember the last time Hardy was on a kickoff show match, it was the 6-man tag. It was the Hardys and Jason Jordan against the Miztourage. And it was at SummerSlam, and they didn't open the doors at the right time, and as a result, everything was empty. The whole arena was empty. At least this time it was slightly more full. It was not packed yet, but they at least had. You could at least see people in the stands. Anyway, not too much going on here. Probably the biggest thing that happened was there was an arm pull slam by Elias. It sent Matt Hardy to the off of the ring apron. Elias began targeting the arm. He locked on an arm bar. Matt Hardy actually hit a side effect while on the ring apron, and he landed on his shoulder as he was coming down. Matt hit a second side effect, got a 2 count on it. Eventually, Elias hit the drift away for the 3 count and the victory. Basically, the setup was he tossed Hardy shoulder first into the ring post, and then hit the drift away. Pretty standard match. Matt did a good job of making Elias look good. Elias has really been working really well in most of his matches recently, so at least he's got that going for him. Okay, our next match is the Cruiserweight Championship match, Enzo Amore versus Kalisto. Even though Enzo's the heel, he actually seemed to get kind of a big face pop when he came out, so I wonder if we're going to wind up getting another double turn here in the next few weeks. Kalisto tried to go for a Selena Del Sol right away, but Enzo just rolled out of the ring. Enzo hit a big hangman on Kalisto. He hit a red alert on Kalisto. Enzo then tied Kalisto up in the Tree of Woe and hit a big flying forearm. Enzo countered out of another Selena Del Sol into a sleeper hold slam, sorry. Kalisto came back and hit a big moonsault. Enzo fought out of a third attempt at a Selena Del Sol and tried to hit the Dunzo, or I can't even remember what the hell I'm just calling it the Dunzo from now on. The Dunzo while on the ring apron. Enzo then slammed Kalisto shoulder first into the ring post and hit the Dunzo in the ring for the 3 count and the victory. This match was completely forgettable. I mean, I really had to look at my notes to try to remember bits of it. Okay, our final kickoff show match is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Breezango. Start things off, and Owens and Zayn immediately come out and just start bemoaning the fact that they were relegated to the kickoff show and that Shane McMahon has been plotting against them, and they don't understand why, because they're clearly the top tier talent on SmackDown. They also gave the excuse that the reason why they didn't stay back to help the New Day was because it had no concern to them. They didn't care. They don't care about Raw versus SmackDown. They only care about themselves. Early on, Fandango hit both Owens and Zayn with a couple of really nice drop kicks. At that point, Tyler Breeze tagged in, and Breezango then hit a double kick onto Sami Zayn. Zayn and Owens hit a leg lock senton combo on Tyler Breeze for a 2 count. Owens then went for another senton, but Tyler managed to counter out of it and tagged in Fandango. Fandango hit a tornado DDT on Zayn for a 2 count. Fandango went for the Last Dance, which is his guillotine leg drop finisher, onto Zayn. Zayn, but then Owens pushed him off of the top. Owens pulled Zayn out of the. Owens pulled Zayn out of the way, tagged in, and then hit the pop-up powerbomb on Fandango for the 3 count and the victory. No real shock here. But the only real shock was I think a lot of people were again expecting the Bludgeon Brothers to come out and attack Breezango, but Yeah, that's right now going nowhere. I mean, I'm not even sure the Bludgeon Brothers are going to be the Bludgeon Brothers by this point now. Okay, finally moving on to the show proper. We have The Shield versus The New Day. Let's see. And, oh yeah, to start things off with the show proper now, they had, basically because it's all Raw versus SmackDown matches, they had both announced teams and Corey Graves, basically. So yeah, we had 5 commentators for all of these matches. And yeah, that does lead to a real train wreck quality to it. Rollins and Ambrose came out in their... when they came out of the crowd, they actually had the Raw Shield combo shirts, but for some reason, Roman Reigns didn't. Anyway, Ambrose and Kofi Kingston started off. At that point, Rollins and Xavier Woods tagged in, and then Reigns and Big E tagged in, and the two big guys began knocking each other around a lot. Reigns came back in his one-arm Samoan drop. Big E and Kofi then got clotheslined out of the ring. The Shield performed the Unicorn Stampede on Xavier Woods, so New Day's getting their own medicine thrown at them. Kofi fought out of a Dirty Deeds attempt, and the New Day began to isolate Ambrose. Ambrose dodged a charging Kofi Kingston, who crotched himself on the ring post as a result of that. Big E came back and speared Dean Ambrose through the ropes. A lot of brawling on the outside of the ring. Ambrose came in and blocked a superplex attempt from Xavier Woods, and Big E came in, and then Big E came in and tried to do a superplex, but Ambrose managed to knock him off and then hit a missile drop kick. Rollins came in, hit the buckle bomb on Xavier Woods. Reigns came in and hit a flying forearm onto Woods. Only got a 2 count on that. Reigns countered a discus punch into a Superman punch. Rollins and Ambrose then hit the Omega Knee and the Dirty Deeds combo onto Kofi and only got a 2 count. They then went for the triple powerbomb, but Big E came in and broke it up. New Day hit basically a double midnight hour. Big E picked up both Rollins and Ambrose, and then Xavier and Kofi came off of the turnbuckles to perform the move. Roman Reigns broke up that pin. There was more brawling on the outside. Eventually, they got back together, and Shield got back together, and Xavier was left alone in the ring. Was it Xavier? Was it No, it was Kofi. Sorry, Kofi was left alone in the ring. They set up to do the triple powerbomb, but then Reigns stops him and says, "No, wait, let's go." And they basically went and set it up in the corner on the top rope. So we have a super triple powerbomb on Kofi for the 3 count and the win. The Shield wins. Just a great way to start the show off. I mean, obviously, I'm missing parts of this. There were some other parts that I just couldn't cover because the action was so fast and intense. But yeah, a lot of high-impact moves. All 3 members of each team, got to shine at some point. Still don't know what they call Seth Rollins' finisher. I just keep calling it the Kenny Omega knee. Okay, it's now that we get to our first traditional Survivor Series match, the Raw women's team versus the SmackDown women's team. There was going to be a mystery opponent because Charlotte defeated Natalya for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and that mystery opponent is Natalya. No real I mean, it's kind of a bit of a disappointed shock. I mean, basically everyone wanted it to be Paige because Paige is supposed to be coming back. We keep hearing that Paige is coming back, and they're never following through on this. This is the same problem I have with the whole Fashion Files thing, the Who destroyed Breezango's office, and then, again, not following through on it. If she's ready to go, put her in there. Use her. She's an asset. I mean, if you want to put her on the Raw team, fine. But just, Anyway, for those of you who maybe don't remember any of my other Survivor Series reviews, I pretty much just keep, when it comes down to the traditional Survivor Series matches, to save a lot on time, I basically try to keep it down to eliminations unless something really, really major happens. But this one, not so much. Alicia Fox and Becky Lynch did start things off. At this point, Bayley blind tagged Alicia and rolled Becky up for a 3 count, so Becky was eliminated. Tamina then tagged in at one point and splashed Bayley for the 3 count, and Bayley was eliminated. At this point, Nia Jax entered, and she and Tamina brawled for a bit. Tamina actually super kicked Nia on the outside of the ring and then did kind of a crossbody splash to Nia on the outside of the ring. Nia was counted out, so she was eliminated. Naomi came in and rolled up Alicia Fox. Sorry. Well, here's the thing. This was a botch because she was trying to go into her Anaconda Vice finisher hold, but the ref counted 3 instead for some reason. But anyway, Alicia was eliminated at that point. Sasha Banks immediately got into the match and then locked the bank statement on Naomi. Naomi was eliminated. At this point, Asuka came in and knocked out Carmella with a big roundhouse kick for a 3 count. Carmella was eliminated. Natalya locked Sasha in the sharpshooter. Sasha tapped out and was eliminated. Asuka then locked Tamina in a cross arm breaker. Tamina was eliminated. Asuka then put Natalya in the Asuka lock, and Natalya was eliminated. So the Raw Women's Tag Team wins. Now, throughout the show, they were keeping a score with this. So now, at this point, Raw was up 2-0 in the Raw versus SmackDown matches. And at this point, we get our first of the champion versus champion matches. The Miz versus Baron Corbin. Now, technically, both these guys are heels, but Miz was, I guess, the de facto face in this, just because Corbin was threatening Miz's wife, Maurice, who was legitimately pregnant. Maurice was actually in the crowd. She actually gave her husband a good luck kiss before the match started. Corbin then threw Miz into the ring barricade in front of Maurice and blew a kiss to her. Miz hit a drop kick on Corbin's knee and then flipped him up over the top rope. At this point, Chris Axel got up and kind of distracted the ref a little bit, allowing Bo Dallas to chop block that knee that Miz had drop kicked earlier. Miz used his shoulder for a knee breaker on Corbin. Basically, he took the knee like this and went down across as he sat down. Miz locked on the figure 4, but Corbin's tall enough to get to the ropes. Corbin began to get a little offensive on that. He had a deep 6. He had another big move. And then Miz fought out of an attempted end of days and hit a big DDT. But then he started... Miz was doing his corner clothesline splash moves. And the third time through, Corbin countered that into the end of days and got the 3 count. Kind of a blasé match. It was not great. In fact, I would say it was... it wasn't bad, but it was very pedestrian. Okay, our next match is another champion versus champion match. The Bar versus the Usos. Sheamus and Jimmy Uso started things off. The Usos hit a wishbone on Sheamus. At that point, Sheamus and Cesaro began to double-team Jey Uso. Cesaro blocked an attempted suicide dive with a European uppercut. Sheamus whipped Jimmy into the corner and then followed it with an Irish Curse backbreaker. Jimmy hit a corkscrew moonsault onto Sheamus, who was standing at the time. The Usos hit a fireman's carry super kick on Cesaro at this point. They then, Jey Uso then went up for a splash, but Cesaro managed to get up, knocked Jey off of the turnbuckle, and then put Jey in the swing, and then locked on the sharpshooter. But eventually Jimmy got in and broke it up. Jimmy basically kind of got taken out at this point. Cesaro and Sheamus kept doubling through, but Jey kept fighting back. Eventually Jimmy did get back into the ring. Jey. It was still Jey, sorry. Sheamus and Cesaro tried to do a double team Irish Curse powerbomb off of the second rope, but Jey managed to fight out of that and countered it into a Samoan drop onto Cesaro. At this point, Jey managed to get back... I keep saying Jey. Jimmy got back into the match. The Usos hit a stereo super kick on Sheamus and then followed it up with Jey splashing Sheamus for the 3 count and the victory. The Usos win, and this was actually a pretty good match. There was a few dead points in there. Like I said, there was a lot of breaking a guy off from his teammate and isolating him, and then a lot of rest holds and dead spots. But other than that, it was really, like I said, I'd say the last 5 to 10 minutes of the match were really good, where they picked up the pace and you saw all the stuff in there. The only thing is, I kind of wish, again, they maybe tagged in the Usos a little bit more. I mean, we had a lot of Jimmy Uso in there for 3 or 4 minutes. Then we had a lot of Jey Uso in there for 3 or 4 minutes. In fact, I'd say the entire latter half of the match, Jey Uso was the one who was primarily in the match. Okay, now on to our third champion versus champion match, Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte. Right off the bat, Charlotte knocked Alexa Bliss down with a shoulder block, and Alexa rolled right out of the ring. At this point, Charlotte kind of got out on the ring apron. Alexa pulled Charlotte's arm and basically pulled her straight down to the outside of the ring, face first. Charlotte went for a quick roll-up, but Alexa catapulted Charlotte into the turnbuckle. Charlotte came back and hit an exploder suplex into the corner. Alexa hit a knee drop on the second rope and then followed it up with a standing moonsault. Alexa locked on a guillotine choke. Charlotte managed to fight out of that and hit a big power bomb. Charlotte hit a natural selection for a 2 count. Charlotte went for a moonsault, but Alexa rolled out of the way. Alexa then went for the Twisted Bliss, but Charlotte got her knees up out of that. Charlotte immediately locked on the figure 4 and bridged into the figure 8, and Alexa tapped out. Really, really good match here. Probably the best, I'd say, of the champion versus champion matches. We'll get to the other one here pretty soon. But I mean, that one, I think it's more like a 1-1A type scenario in that. But like I said, we'll get to that here. In fact, let's get to that one right now. It's champion versus champion, Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. Now, it is funny because they played the little introductory vignette, and that vignette completely omitted Jinder Mahal, who's the one who initially challenged Brock Lesnar, who was initially supposed to face Brock Lesnar until 2 weeks ago when AJ Styles won the WWE Championship. Because they finally realized the whole Jinder Mahal thing just isn't working. They did have, I will say this, they did have Jinder cut a backstage inset promo where Jinder said, although he does want AJ Styles to win because he's Team Smackdown, he wants Brock Lesnar to beat AJ within an inch of his life and then for AJ to win. Actually a pretty good little promo in that sense. Anyway, Lesnar immediately jumped AJ as soon as the bell rang, pounded him into the corner. At one point, Lesnar hit a belly-to-belly suplex and tossed AJ entirely across the ring. At this point, Suplex City starts to kick in. Lesnar hit a series of German suplexes. Michael Cole actually did compare this to the SummerSlam 2014 match between Lesnar and Cena, where Lesnar just completely mopped the floor with John Cena. AJ tried to land a few strikes, but Lesnar just dodged it. Eventually, AJ got one big strike in enough. Lesnar then charged at AJ in the corner and got his knee caught up into it. That enabled AJ to hit a tornado DDT. AJ then hit a Pele kick to the back of Lesnar's head. Lesnar countered a phenomenal forearm into another German suplex. AJ managed to get to the outside of the ring and then drop kick Brock Lesnar into the ring steps. AJ hit a springboard 450 for a 2 count. AJ countered an F5 into the calf crusher. Was locked right in the middle of the ring. Didn't look like Brock was going to get to the ropes. Brock manages to reach his hand over and grabs AJ's head and starts spiking him right off the mat like that. Caused AJ to break the hold. AJ did manage to come back and hit the phenomenal forearm for a 2 count. AJ then went up, got rid of his elbow pad, went for another phenomenal forearm, but Lesnar immediately caught him and hit the F5 for the 3 count and the victory. Now, this is how they should have done, well, maybe not the Goldberg match, but this is more what I wanted to see in the Goldberg match, where it was more like both of them giving that offensive thing from last year's Survivor Series, and not the WrestleMania match, which again is probably something more what I wanted to see, where they were both really getting some good offensive points in. Brock took AJ seriously. They didn't, they didn't chalk it up to, well, AJ's not nearly as big as Brock, so he's just going to mop the floor with him. But again, you knew that Brock was probably going to come out on the top at that point. Like I said, a really darn good match. I'd say of the champion versus champion matches, it is kind of a 1-1A with the women's match. I'd probably put the women's match just a little bit more in front, just because I thought it was a better story told and everything in that. Okay, and now to our main event, our second traditional Survivor Series match of the night, the Raw men versus the Smackdown men. Right off the bat, Shane tried to go after Braun Strowman, but Strowman immediately threw Shane across the ring, and Shane tagged right out. At one point during the match, Triple H was in against Shinsuke Nakamura, and they were fighting into the corner, and Cole actually called Triple H the wife of Stephanie McMahon. Oh. Oh boy. Anyway, Strowman came in and hit a big running power slam on Nakamura. Nakamura was eliminated. Strowman then hit a big running power slam on Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode was eliminated. At this point, everyone on the SmackDown side, including Nakamura and Roode, even though they had been eliminated, suplexed Strowman onto the, I think it was the German announce table. And Strowman was not tagged in, though, so this was not a count-out situation. Cena was in the match, though, and he hit the attitude adjustment on Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was eliminated. Balor came in and hit the coup de grace on Cena just as Angle was in and hit an Angle slam. Angle covered. Cena was eliminated. Randy Orton came in and hit the RKO on Balor. Finn Balor was eliminated. At this point in the match, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens got in, and they attacked Shane. Shane grabbed a chair to fight them off. Randy Orton even RKO'd Kevin Owens at this point, but that proved to be too much of a distraction. Strowman got in and hit Power Slam on Orton to eliminate Orton. This left the Raw team of Braun Strowman, Triple H, and Kurt Angle against Shane McMahon. They stood there in the ring. Shane did not want to go in against Strowman, but eventually he got in there, and Strowman started staring him down, and then Angle tagged in, and Angle goes and he has Shane in an ankle lock, and Triple H tags in and immediately pedigrees Kurt Angle. And then Shane covers Kurt Angle for the 3 count. At this point, it looks like Triple H has changed sides. He's actually, in line with the McMahon family. And he then pedigrees Shane and covers Shane to eliminate Shane and win the match for Team Raw. And Raw wins it over. And then as Triple H celebrates. Strowman gets in the ring. He's just kind of looking like, what the hell is going on here? Like, really? And Triple H starts showing, and finally Strowman just snaps. He goozles Triple H. He grabs him by the throat, pushes him into the corner. He says, "If you ever do like that to me again, it's game over." And Triple H he gets up. Strowman basically walks off. Triple H goes after him, kicks him, sets him up for the pedigree. Strowman immediately just fights out of it, picks him up, power slams Triple H down to the mat, and then goes in and power slams Triple H again and rips off his Raw shirt, and that's how the show ends. So instead of fighting for the Kane Braun Strowman match like everyone was fearing, instead it looks like we might be getting a Triple H Braun Strowman feud, which admittedly could be kind of interesting. I wonder how if they're going to incorporate like a sledgehammer or something going into that. Now the next pay-per-view after this is Clash of Champions, which is actually a SmackDown show. So, like I said, I don't know where they're going to go with this. This will go into the Rumble. Obviously, they're planting the seeds for Angle Triple H probably at Mania. Don't know how Jason Jordan was going to play in this. Earlier in the evening, Jordan himself cut kind of a backstage promo that he was ready in case anyone was needed. Though he did actually wish that Triple H was eliminated first so that the rest of Team Raw could win. Don't know what to make of that. I would have been a bit more coy, again, try to plant the seed for that heel turn. Like maybe he could have come in and turned on his father, Kurt Angle. That could have actually been interesting, but other than that, though, the match itself was pretty darn good. It got a little wonky towards the end there with Triple H constant. The problem is Shane's fighting, and then we have three guys deciding like who's actually going to get in and fight him. And like I said, Triple H in his multiple turns just got a little confusing. Anyway, the show overall, though, the kickoff show matches were completely forgettable. They did not add to the show at all. But other than that, though, most of the matches were top-notch. So, I mean, the only match I would say really wasn't was Miz and Corbin. And I don't think that was really... there was really no build to that match very well at all. I mean, the problem, too, is when you have a heel versus a heel... like, say, now if you were going to say, well, wasn't the tag match also kind of heel versus heel? Well, the Usos are a bit more anti-heroes now. Because of the feud they had with the New Day. So you can at least cheer for the Usos if you didn't like the Bar. And, like I said, for the most part, all those matches, except for the Miz-Corbin match, were really good. I'm going to be giving Survivor Series 2017 an A. Okay, so the next video up is going to be the Executive Assassin's Random Trait Review. Still kind of in the early scripting stages on that, so hopefully I'll be able to get it out on Sunday. If not, I might have to push it back a couple of days. See you all then. Hey guys, tired of me constantly talking only about WWE and NXT? Want to see me cover something like Ring of Honor or New Japan or anything else? Go to my Patreon page and see how you can help make that happen. Links in the description.